Okay, here's one of the reasons why I like myself so much.
Akil Augustine, TV host and veteran sports journalist. For over a decade, he's been one of the defining voices in Toronto basketball. A Raptors TV producer and digital lead, a regular on NBA TV Canada, and the creator of The Hangout. He helped shape the Raptors' digital identity and championship storytelling, all while bringing an unapologetic personality and a perspective on life you can't find anywhere else.
Are you a self-taught journalist, self-taught broadcaster? Did you?
No, I went to journalism school. I went to Seneca. I started doing street basketball tournaments on the microphone. I was like a late teenager. I didn't really have an off switch.
You just wanted to be seen.
I really needed to be seen. So there's a huge conflict about who am I? Are you a reporter? Are you a host? Are you the fun guy? Are you a serious journalist? Are you? And for me, I'm the guy like I can be all of those things.
We've seen a lot of people. I've seen people come and go. So how have you survived?
Your season is your season. I had my season when I was on TV and I had my own TV show. And I have another season where who knows?
And you're constantly adapting to whatever's in front of you.
Because TV is a lot about the next gig.
Of course.
Securing the look.
And that's no different than being an athlete.
Greetings and salutations, Warren here. Today on You Only Die Twice, we have Akil Augustine, the man that made Kool-Aid say, oh yeah. The first black man to pilot an aircraft, Akil Augustine.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of You Only Die Twice. I'm your host, Warren Ward, and in this episode, I'm joined by none other than Akil Augustine. Let me just start by saying, whatever you thought you knew about Akil Augustine, you don't. This episode was refreshing on a number of bases. Not only is he known for, being a host in media, but his transparency, his vulnerability, it's second to none when he's talking about his life, his upbringing, things he's done, how he's moving into fatherhood, and his 20-year success in the media industry. But before we start, the best way to support this podcast is to like, comment, subscribe, and of course, share with a friend. And without further ado, let's get into it.
When this is gone, I die.
Achilles Augustinus.
Yeah, buddy.
How you doing, man?
Oh, are we starting?
Are we?
I guess we did.
Okay.
We are. It's on.
I'm really happy you're here. I've been looking forward to this for a long time. As you know, actually, you know what? I'll start with this. I was looking through my phone, and you know how iPhone gives memories?
Yes.
So there's a photo of me, you, Dan Gladman, and Will Strickland. That was the first time I was on anything television related. And that was on The Hangout, almost a decade ago, maybe 2015, 2016.
Man, that makes me feel old.
Well, yeah, me too, technically. But it's kind of like a full circle moment. That kind of happened like last week or week before. I got the photo. I didn't send it to you, but I was just thinking about that.
Is it up on the screen right now?
No, it's definitely not up on the screen.
No, why? What was up with your hairline then? Why won't we show it? Is there a problem?
There's no. I don't have the photo.
Oh,
I don't have the photo.
Send us the photo.
I have the photo on my phone. It's not here.
No, but you can. Put
Yeah.
it on the screen.
We'll definitely put it up eventually.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
But the reason why I wanted to do this is sit down with you outside of that. It was like I got my start at that point in time with you, and I want to show the parallels between what we do and what you do in particular, and professional athletes. And I think there is a big synergy and a big correlation. As you know, we've been doing this now for almost 2 years. This is our third year, actually, so more than 2 years.
By the way, congratulations and props. You never told me Rachel was involved. You said it was only you. This was a solo project.
I never said that.
It was a revelation when Rachel started to email me. But, I mean, that's good people right there. That's fam.
That's the best.
But honestly, though, I'll say this. I don't do podcasts
I know
anymore.
you don't.
And no disrespect to any podcast I have been on in the past or whatever, but there's too many.
There's too many. There's too many.
Everybody wants to say a bunch of stuff, and then they want to re-traumatize me with my past. So it's like the day that we decided we were going to do this was actually a day I told my homegirl Nori, I'm not doing any more podcasts.
Okay.
But I will do this one because the main reason is a lot of people do podcasts just to hear themselves talk, but there's actually a seed here. You have a focus and something specific to talk about, and then you can build out and make all your jokes from that, but there's actually a laser focus point to this podcast, and so I mess with that.
And is that why it's important to you for to be here, because of that laser focus, because it's niche?
It's important and it's convenient. I didn't have anything else to do today, so it's a mix of importance and convenience.
Well, that's good. I like that. Yeah, and for me, this is something that's my lived experience, and I don't think it's. And I've said this, Rachel interviewed me, and I said this on my episode, that this is not just pertaining to athletes. I think this affects everybody in a different way, and we're gonna get into how maybe that's affected you. And
yeah,
I'm excited.
Yeah, the numbers tell it right now.
Yes.
Like corporate Canada and America, people are losing their jobs. Small business turnover within 5 years. So everyone, I feel like, I don't know, I'm speaking out of turn. I'm not a sociologist or anything, if that's even the type of person that studies this. But everyone's going to go through something similar.
That's right.
Right? So it's like, okay, let's take notable people within the community. We like sports and stuff like that. And talk about how they go through it, because we talk about how they go through everything else. So It's brilliant. I wish I came up with this idea.
Well, appreciate that, man.
I think I might have mentioned it on the Hangout or something.
Yeah. and then I took it and ran with it. Oh, yeah, fair enough. There are unspoken challenges, I think, between finding out what's on the other side of the jersey. And we heard that a few days ago, and I love that saying, what's on the other side of the jersey. For you, how do you separate the media personality from the person?
Oh. Well, that was tough. I think that's good timing, because there's actually a separation now. But there wasn't. I think, again, I had a very interesting childhood. Okay. Right? And I don't know anyone who experienced the things that I've experienced.
Are you open to talking about what you experienced?
Yeah, I mean, my childhood's, I'm an open book about my childhood. Born in Trinidad, 4 years old. My parents, my family moved to Brooklyn, New York during the crack epidemic, mid 80s. 4 years old, my parents decided they don't want to raise me in Brooklyn, so they sent me and my sister to Toronto. No parents, 4 years old, illegal, undocumented alien. Can't go to school, can't go to work, can't go to the hospital.
You sure you want to say that now? You're good
I'm
now?
I'm legal now.
Oh, okay.
This wouldn't even be a conversation.
Okay.
Right?
Just making sure.
Right, so I grew up I didn't see my parents for the next 20 some odd years. For the next 20 years, I couldn't go to school, couldn't go to work, couldn't go to the hospital, couldn't get a job. So my existence was really weird. Physically, sexually, mentally abused. From 9 to 14, I was, selling drugs with my cousin, driving across the city.
Interesting.
Just a really odd collection of experiences. And because I didn't have parents, I think I needed outside attention. I wasn't getting what most people will get in terms of someone's focused on what you're doing, where you are,
and giving you
guidance.
Feel, that's right.
Giving you guidance. So I had to get that from outside world. And so what I would do to get it was make people interested in myself. So I became an extrovert. I became outgoing. I became talkative. I might not have become it. I might have been it and then kind of over-indexed on it. But that was all that was happening. So I put that I started doing street basketball tournaments on the microphone. I was a late teenager, hyping up crowds. And that was me. I didn't really have an off switch, right?
You just wanted to be seen.
I really needed to be seen, right? And so that was the
to fill the void.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the persona that I put on camera. And it was a long time of this, you ask people, my nickname growing up was Loose Cannon. The person you saw on camera wasn't different from the person that you interacted with at the gym or at the bar. Ask Rachel out the street. There was no difference.
That was your identity.
It was my identity because it was what I needed to be in order to get what I needed, because I'm a person that like community. I like to be around people. I like to have conversations. And I wasn't getting that at home. I came from a very broken home. And so I needed to go out into the world, into my neighborhood, and find people to gravitate towards and to have those interactions with. So I became that, and then that really worked in certain situations. It worked at basketball tournaments on the mic. It worked to get attention at school, and then it worked on camera. So there was no separation. And I can honestly say the separation came probably when I got the Hangout, and I realized that being on camera and doing a show every week still didn't make me. And again, this is such a classic, old
cliche.
School cliche. You know what I'm saying?
It didn't make me whole.
It didn't make me whole.
Yeah.
But growing up watching Chris Rock, Chris Tucker, Dave Chappelle, those were my those three, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, that's my big six. So I was caught in between that, and they're all public speakers. They're all outgoing. Yeah. They're all loud. So I over-indexed on that. And it wasn't until I was so exhausted from doing the show and doing Raptors and stuff like that I'd get home and recognize that sometimes I'm doing this and it's not who I am. I'm not being it. I'm doing it.
So who are you then?
Well, I'm some of that. I'm definitely some of that. But I think one of the issues for me was, and again, a lot of people like to say this, but like, I really like reading. Okay. And growing up, like I was called white boy in Blake and all over the city. Like they make fun of me. Like guys at Easter made fun of me. Like one time I made the mistake of calling my watch a digital readout. Mans were calling me digital readout. Like, so like I've always had this interest. Like when I was 19, I joined the Nation of Islam. I was brother Akil, X25. When I was 22, there was a Buddhist temple at the corner of Bathurst and Queen. I joined the Buddhist temple, shaved my head, followed a monk. So for me,
Why?
Oh, that's a whole other conversation.
Okay, but like, what were you looking for while you were doing that?
Same thing I was looking for on camera. Right? Some kind of peace, some kind of acceptance, some kind of love, some kind of, all those things that we're all doing, right? We're not different.
No.
And that was just kind of my path.
Right. We all do that, but just in a different way.
Exactly.
The 6 people you mentioned, I'll say this about, even while I have this little tattoo of a microphone, they all have what I believe is auditory impact. I think if you want to change the world, or if anyone that I admire,
it's a name for an album.
anyone that I admire has done it through speech, even to a negative connotation of that. Like there are people who've used their power of speech, and we all know who I'm talking about, for wrong. But I think you can speak for good, or you can speak for wrong. And I do think those people, in particular, people that we all admire, whether you're a musician or not, what are you doing? You're communicating with your words. And
casting
words
spells.
and what you say, people feel. And I think that's such an important thing. So it doesn't matter if you're talking to one person or 1 million people, you have auditory impact. So be careful what you say, right? And I think when you talk about what you were looking for, it's a gift, and the external things that you were finding, and that's why I said, like, people who work on camera, people often think that you have a desire to be seen. I think it's much more than that. I think you're definitely filling a void for sure with your upbringing. But for me in particular, it wasn't necessarily need to be seen; it was a need to be heard.
Yeah.
You know, and it just happens that I do it this way.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm here right now.
Exactly. And I think there's a lot of parallels between what you just said, because people, like, what you said is life. It doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not. So someone could have the same story as you. You just open to talking about it, except they do it in an athletic realm. And I don't think there's any real difference. What I will say, though, is what you've experienced gave you something that other athletes receive as well, which is special treatment. You have been gifted a lot of things. You've been in a lot of rooms that you would never be in because you were a loose cannon, because you're able to speak. So do you part of your persona, or part of doing this, did you feed into the special treatment that you received from being who you naturally are?
Absolutely, to this day, and it's not going to change. I don't show up on time to things because people expect that I won't. People send me scripts and they know I'm probably not going to read it because I don't agree with the script, and I feel like what I come up with on the fly is going to be 10 times better than what's in the script. And the people who work with me kind of know and understand that. And there's other aspects too, like it frustrates my mom, my sister, and my other sister that, like, I sometimes move around like I'm special, and that's part of like the job. Like, not to say that like I do actually feel like I'm special, but like there are times where I know my job is to be high energy. My job is to change the vibe. My job is to inform. My job is to move someone. And so with that, you're going to take liberties that someone else in the room isn't going to take. And it's just because, like, okay, they may consider themselves shy. They may not consider themselves a leader. They may not feel it's their responsibility or their problem to change how the room works. But because of who I am, all of those things are like, foremost in my mind. And so that's what I do. And so that is a kind of specialness in a way, right? When someone feels safe enough to take up space. But it's kind of inverted because I don't feel safe if I'm not taking up the space.
You don't feel safe?
Well, no, it's kind of like, when someone's just like, the class clown?
Yeah.
Like, he's doing that because he doesn't feel safe. He's not doing that because, let me put it to, because it's probably the first time I'm articulating these thoughts. I've heard these thoughts from other people, and it's resonated with me. But the reason why a class clown wants attention is because he's not getting attention.
Yeah, of course.
And so we want to be seen.
Right.
So that the community knows there they are. They're part of our community. We can protect them. But if you don't feel seen, you have to do whatever you can to feel seen, because being seen is safety. We came up, as some people disagree, but we were like a higher primate, and primates move in troops. And so the safety's in the troop. The strength of the wolf is in the wolf pack. And if you feel isolated, if you feel, not part of the wolf pack, you have to do something to let everyone know you're there. And that's the safety in it. So that's how that creates safety.
And you found yourself doing that?
Oh, yeah. To this day, Deontay Wilder, to this day.
How do you think that's affected your brand?
It's cost me opportunities as much as it's gotten me opportunities. Like, you think about it, I came in this game to
2006.
Okay, I was going to say the year. I was going to say what I was going to do. Thank you for outing me. That was completely unnecessary. How
2
old
decades.
Are you? So anyways. Damn, that's a while ago.
A while ago, brother.
Yeah. No, what was I going to say? Thanks.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say what I came in this game to do. And you outing my age completely submarine that thought.
Sorry.
What were we talking about?
I mean, you should. We're.
What was the specific?
You
thing?
talked about the Wolfpack. You talked about being class clown, and then you talked about.
Oh yeah, that's what I came to do.
Yeah, and then you talked about what you came to do in the industry when you started, and then you were going to talk about what you did. But I said the year. And
yeah, that completely broke me.
Right.
But no, I came.
So then, what was your goal when you started in this industry?
Oh, that was the point I was trying to make. Okay, good job, good host. So I came in the industry to be the Raptors sideline reporter.
Yes.
It was my goal. But I couldn't get on camera. Like, as a young black guy, like, okay, first off, when I started doing this, no one had a camera in the gym. Like,
yeah.
I go now, and like there's literally
cameras everywhere.
There was like I started shooting the Jane and Finch Classic, Top Gun tournament. There was no one in the gym with a camera. I was the first person. Like, I was with Roe. There was nobody. I'm interviewing Corey. Like, I'm talking not the Toronto Star. It's just me, right? And so there was this bridge where like there was like street level basketball, and the teams that I messed with, and the tournaments that I messed with, and then the NBA came, and there's this huge gap between our community and the NBA reporters, the Doug Smiths and the Fest Chucks and stuff. Excuse me, pardon me. So there was no room for someone like me to hop on the air on TSN or Sportsnet like that. So when Raptors TV was around, what happened was like they were creating their own content, but in Canada there's CanCon regulations. So you have to have a certain amount of Canadian content. So they needed anybody to speak about basketball in a way on their network.
Okay.
And what I realized was, okay, I'm young, I'm black. I'm from where I'm from. I know who I know. I'm going to play that up to get on camera. So I had to play that up on NBA XL, on these little segments, sponsored stuff, right? And then
on your own, like,
no, this is
on your own volition?
This is NBA
okay.
TV.
Okay.
And what happens is, like, let's say an executive of sports, an executive TSN, executive of the Raptors, like, oh, that guy does the offbeat, funny street stuff. Well, now they think of you as that. So then I wanted to do regular reporting, and I couldn't do it because they're like, oh, you're this type of reporter. So I actually volunteered to host Raptors Today for free on top of my regular job as the internet guy for the Raptors and TFC and Maple Leafs. So I was doing that show after my job to cover someone, and it was cost effective for them because I was doing it for free. They fired the other guy, and slowly people start to see me as a host.
That's right.
But then, obviously, NBXL loses its host, so I'm doing NBXL and I'm doing that. So there's a huge conflict about who am I? And that's the one thing I've heard the most in television is like, are you a reporter? Are you a host? Are you the fun guy? Are you a serious journalist? Are you? And for me, I'm the guy, like, I can be all of those things. And I think there's a lot of people now in the internet age who are getting to do that and show that. But I was, 20 years too early before YouTube was, adopted. And so I was forced to kind of be at the behest of the gatekeepers in Canadian television. And so they dictate who gets those positions. So, my personality has worked for me in that it gets me certain types of things. Like if you're doing like social media, brand partnership with players, Q&As, like, I'm the perfect guy. But then like for certain other things where people have a hard time, like it's weird now because Mr. Beast was on
the football game yesterday. Yeah.
The stuff that I did, like they're doing stateside, but we're just so slow to adapt and adopt. But again, I just refuse to go stateside, so I have to deal with, it's my fault,
it's your choice.
My decision to
It's
stay
not
here.
fault, it's just your choice.
Yeah, exactly. It's my choice to stay here and to be Canadian and Torontonian.
Yeah, and you're
I
serving
love
that
it.
choice.
I wouldn't change it, despite whatever else happens.
Well, I'm gonna bring up the the number again. You've been in this game for a long time. Sorry. how have you mastered the craft of broadcasting, hosting, and being in front of a camera? Because you're so multidimensional. So how have you stayed true to that and not let your need to be seen dictate from the craft?
Wow. Well, first off, thank you so much for those kind words. I don't think I've mastered anything, but I think that was a big problem for the Hangout in the beginning. It was like okay, so here's the issue with the Hangout. The Hangout was I was bringing my people on the show, and my people weren't TV people. They were basketball people. They weren't well-trained. They weren't media savvy. And so what I leaned on was my interruptions. Like when someone said something, but they were going to drone on, I would jump in. I would argue. It wasn't Stephen A. Smith because these are my people. I'm not going to vilify them. I'm not going to really get at them. But I was really jumping into the conversation a lot. And I think probably the last couple years on Raptors Today, when you, Sherm,
Jonesy,
Savannah. Leo, Savannah, when we got more voices in, and I think because, again, the diversity and the quality of the voices allowed me to take a step back. Now, so I had all the reps of how to interrupt, when to do something crazy, when to like change my body position. But now I didn't need to lean on it because the people that were talking in the opposite chair could hold their weight.
Yeah.
And it was even still hard then because I was like, I want to speak now.
But how do you stay true to like the craft in which you started?
You know what? It's weird. I found that, okay, so I'm going to stay true to it by not being involved for the next couple of years. That's what I decided.
meant during the process.
Oh, during the process?
Yeah.
Again, I think there was no separation between me and the on-air persona. And journalism, the tenets of journalism are so tightly held by me that like I never turned it off. Like you had a conversation with me off camera, it's the same conversation we had on camera. Like oftentimes it was a problem. Like I got into so much. You have no idea how many times I got in trouble. I got fired by Brian Colangelo for speaking out in the newspaper about country music artists at the All-Star game, and then the day after they rescinded my firing and brought me back. I got, the amount of times I've been called into like the GM's office for like, did you say that? Did you do this? Did you do that? And it's like, yeah, I did.
Are you a self-taught journalist, self-taught broadcaster? Did you?
No, I went to journalism school. I went to Seneca College, studied radio, television, broadcast journalism.
Right.
I came up under some great producers. I think the in the field training, as much as like the school certification gets you in the door, the in the field training, like Namagini Kiwanuka of TVO, that's the homie. She's actually the first person that I worked under, her and Cabby Richards. He's personality side. Nami was a
really
research
cool. Everyone
person.
knows Cabby.
Right. I worked at Pound Magazine, Rodrigo Bascunan, one of the best hip-hop magazines when it comes to journalism. We were doing stuff on terrorism, pre-9/11. It was crazy, like the type of people that they were interviewing there. And so that was like the environment that I came up in. I worked at Pound for 4 years. I worked at Sportsnet under NAM for 4 years. And these are like formative years. This is like 19 to 23. These are kind of the years where it kind of like
when you
cements.
were a monk and
yeah, no, trust me. They would show up. I would show up bald some days. And they'd be like, what's happening? Ask NAM about me. Ask NAM and Cab about me. They honestly... one of the producers said I was the worst intern they've ever had. They said I'm the only intern that would show up and give the producers work.
Yo, you know, you remind me of like the athlete that everyone wants on their team, but no one wants to play against.
Yeah, you know I mean, shoot, yeah, that's probably an apt description. Yeah, you want me on your team, but you don't want to coach me.
So speaking of everything you just said, much like an athlete per se. You know, you go like adversity has no preference. Everyone faces some sort of adversity.
It might have a preference. It might have me.
True.
It likes
but
me.
Given everything you've said, you've survived like 20 plus years. Sorry. So how do you sorry. I had to say.
My 43rd birthday is October 15th. My social insurance number is
chill. How have you survived just essentially being yourself in a space where we've seen a lot of people. I've seen people. I've been in this 6 years. We've seen way more people come and go than I have, and I've seen a lot of people come and go. So how have you survived?
You know what? I think the number one thing is to look at your jealousy.
What do you mean by? I have no. What does that mean?
Well, because like the idea of surviving is like, okay, first off, the idea of surviving. Okay, what is your goal? Like,
well,
in order to, when you like originally when I got into broadcast journalism. I got into it to be the courtside reporter for the Toronto Raptors. I wanted to be at the Raptors games. I'm at the Raptors games now, so that can't be the goal. At some point, I decided. I wrote this mission statement. My life's mission is to be an example of joyous learning and growth. Right.
Okay.
So
It's powerful.
yeah, it gives me an opportunity to change. Is what it does, right? Like a lot of times you write a mission statement and then you have to be that thing. My mission statement is being a chameleon. It's constantly growing. But what I say to looking at your jealousy is that like, okay, so if you're surviving, that means it's competition, right? And so if it's competition, then who's the competition, right? And to be honest, in this industry, if it's competition, who's the competition? It's every other black man. Because I'm only going for the jobs that you're going for.
Because, well, that's all we have.
Yeah, so if I'm surviving, I'm looking at you, I'm looking at Donovan, I'm looking at Cabby, I'm looking at whoever else, and like we have to fight against each other. So,
Which you've said to me many times off camera
Yeah.
about
yeah, this is because like you can only have so many.
Yeah.
You can only have so many.
Fact.
Right? And so it's like the one thing that I think I struggled with early was like I wanted to get to that certain spot, so anything that would get in the way of me getting that spot became
Competition.
a problem for me.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. And I
competition.
completely
so someone
relate to
else
that.
getting the
Yes.
gig ahead of me, someone else getting the Foot Locker deal or the Nike deal, or someone else getting seeded the product that would solidify that I'm the top basketball guy. And so like honestly, these are thoughts I've had throughout my
Of
life.
course.
Especially I was an early adopter of social media.
But at least you can admit it, because people pretend like they don't feel
man,
them.
trust me, man. You're all in your feelings. That's why I'm not on social media anymore. Like I've had like 6 posts this year. Like it's because I'm such a competitive person. Like you think about it, like my favorite athletes are Kobe Bryant and Mike Tyson, right?
Damn.
It's like
Kobe, I get. Mike is crazy.
no, Brooklyn first off. Brooklyn
Okay.
every day. But like no, like you think about my background, my upbringing. Like I was alone since 4 years old, right? So it's like I have a certain mentality. There's a certain level of intensity that comes with dealing with me, right? Because if I didn't have this intensity when I'm 5 years old and I have no parents, when I'm 9 years old and no one cares, when I'm 14 years old and my door's getting kicked in and my house is getting raided, like I have a certain fire that doesn't mesh well with a lot of things, but like that intensity serves me, and so I
comes out and
I use it. Like right now, like I'm hot from toe to head talking about these things, because that's how my physiology works. That's how I'm wired.
Right.
Yeah, how's my hair look?
You good, bro? Everything's good.
Pass me the toque.
Nah, I'm straight. You don't need it. You're gonna be hotter. Pause.
Woo! Man's just sweating. But go on.
Yeah, no.
I don't even remember the question. I got so hot.
No, that's
Fried
good.
my chip.
We like that. We like that. That's good. I was referring to your survival and longevity within.
Yeah, checking
within the space.
jealousy. Checking jealousy.
And
I think that's the thing that ate me the most. And so once
you were able to relinquish
process
that.
it. And it wasn't, and it was never me.
Yeah.
It was my daughter. It was my daughter. My daughter made me stop being jealous of other people.
Why?
Because honestly, none of that will impact how her and I relate. None of it will impact how. So it's like it moves out of my primary concern. Being a single dude, your primary concern is what's on your plate next, what's the next gig, your next date, you. And it was fun. Guy, listen, I'm not mad. Like I had a great life.
Relax.
Had a great life. No, I'm not mad. No, you guys, come on.
Your daughter.
I had a good life.
I'm sure. Yeah.
A great life, and I wasn't planning on. Obviously, my daughter was a surprise, and so I think it's the kind of natural growth I needed. You think about it, like normally human beings have kids, and it's just like it's like a sacrament. It's like a rite of passage. It's what you do. You have kids. And not to say that everyone needs to, but I think, especially when I meet people now, like having kids is vilified.
Yeah, man.
It's like, oh my God.
Well, because it's hard.
And it's expensive.
That especially.
But the recontextualization of every aspect of your life is such a mind job. Like I was depressed when I found out having a kid. It was heartbreaking.
I was going to say father to end, but this is good. Keep going.
Okay, no, because I wasn't with the person.
Yeah.
It was nothing. It's nothing you would dream up. You know.
I get it.
It's nothing you would dream up. But that little girl has recontextualized. Like Bro, I had every sneaker. Like, I'm talking the hard ones, like the off-white ones.
Yeah.
Off-white. I had every sneaker. I wear brown boots. I don't got no sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it
doesn't matter
weird.
anymore.
But it does matter. Like, I like sneakers aesthetically. It's just like, because it's not to demean or like belittle the person I was before all of this. Like, I like fly stuff. But the role that I'm playing now, it just doesn't have the same weight. It's just about the role you're playing. Like, if my dad gets sick and I have to take care of my daughter has to take a back seat. So, like, I won't be sitting here talking about how my daughter changed me. I'll talk about how my dad getting sick changed me.
Right.
Like, and the sad thing is every time someone goes through, like, that new stage, people compare themselves. Like, oh, he's going through that. That's what I should be doing. I should be doing fatherhood, or I should be spending more time with my dad, right? And it's, no, your season is your season. I had my season when I was on TV and I had my own TV show. I don't have that anymore. Now I'm a dad. And I have another season where I'm, who knows?
And you're constantly adapting to whatever's in front of you.
Yeah, and so I think that's how I learned to survive, is stop being jealous and kind of being really present in what's happening now. Because TV is a lot about the next gig.
Of course.
Securing the look. How am I got to...
And that's no different than being an athlete, because you're trying to get the next team. And if you're on the bench and you're not playing and all these other things happen and interrupt you, and then you become jealous. Like me, 100% as an athlete, that was a big problem for me. I couldn't enjoy where I was no matter what I accomplished, because I'm trying to get the next thing. And I'm in competition with everyone else who looks like me and who doesn't look like me. I'm in competition with people who don't even play the sport I'm playing.
Yeah, for social media.
From everything. You're just constantly in competition, and then you're trying. I saw Rachel posted it today. I'm probably gonna misquote it, but I liked it, but I went and watched it myself, and it talked about being called and being.
It's calling versus a job.
Calling versus what?
A job.
A job, and it's like when you're called to do something, you're not competing. You're just in it. There's no attachment to anything. And when you're doing a job or surviving, then that's what you're doing. You're constantly looking for the next thing. And I think even in sports, the way we're trained and taught to compete in media, I have friends who work in the States, and all they talk about is getting to the next job, the ESPN gig, and getting on this and getting in this.
And you are your habits.
And you,
so if you're constantly worrying, you're constantly looking around, you're constantly shouldering that stuff, then that becomes your persona
and your identity.
What was it? Oh, there's a dope quote Dr. Joe Dispenza dropped. He goes, what is it? It's like first it's an action, then it's a habit, then it's a personality trait, then it's a persona. So it starts with doing it once, then you're known for doing it, then you're always doing it, and then it's who you are.
And you've seen.
I butchered the quote, by the way.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You've been in the sports ecosystem for a while, so you've seen exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In athletes. You've dealt with the people that have that sort of personality persona. What have you taken from that, and what have you not taken from that?
My favorite story is James Johnson.
Okay,
that's my guy, man. When James came here, like I get identified with James because James just like he was. When you get into the NBA, you're young. Like, you're like sub 21, 20.
Yeah, of course.
You're not a fully developed person oftentimes.
I got a good story about him too, bro. It was hilarious.
Oh, I think a lot of people around the city have great stories about James Johnson. But I won't get into the details. I won't incriminate us in any way, shape, or form. Because I got in trouble so many times. Like, people that work with email me like, were you out with James Johnson last night at the club? I was like, we saw you. I was like, aha. But no, it's crazy the type of guy he was when he first I can't imagine Chicago, but in Toronto, James was who he was.
Yeah.
And it kind of like me, he had a reputation, and that reputation worked against him. But at some point, he figured one thing out, right? And that was, having his teammates back, right? Yeah. He's never fought on an NBA floor.
Thank God.
Right? But I think what happened is everyone knows that if he were to fight, it would be over. And there were enough instances where guys almost got to that point, and he showed the restraint. And that built a trust among the league of, he's bad, but he's never going to cross that line.
Yeah.
And
which takes real strength.
It takes real strength. And I think now you think about, like, the second the Pacers got into that brawl with the Bucks, and then the organization felt like they needed a veteran to back up those young guys, to make sure that no one would take advantage of them and bully them the way Giannis did at the end of that game with his fingers in people's face. they call around the NBA and they're like, yeah, who's the guy that's going to come into our locker room and really, tighten the ropes? James Johnson's been there for 2 years, right? And so I think he's a guy that taught me a lot because, like, I look at like there's tons of stories, but there's not a ton of stories that relate to me.
Yeah.
Like, like I can work with. And I kind of have the same problem James Johnson has. People think I'm wild. People think I'm crazy. I have a crazy reputation. I come from downtown. Everyone knows what I've done when I was younger, right? So it's like, how can I break into the field of the white-collar, clean, university graduate broadcaster?
Yeah.
Dad's the producer type deal,
Yeah,
right?
College of Sports Media.
Yeah,
Shout out to College of Sports
I'm
Media.
not part of that club, so it's like, I look at his story and I say, okay, you have to be able to trust something in you. And I think for me, it's been my energy. Like, people trust my energy. Like, I don't know what people say about me when I'm not in the room, but I know I get a phone call when they're done talking about me, and they're saying, come host. So at least something's
working.
Something's past the membrane.
Well, 20 years. You've been in 2 decades, brother. So it's working.
Keep saying it.
Sorry.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Like, Jesus.
it's a compliment.
Keep pushing it in there.
It's a compliment. I hope
21 years.
I hope I have
5 weeks.
I hope I have 21 years. in
Okay,
this.
all right. Yeah,
I really do. Did you one of the themes, I guess, of this, besides identity, is planning. You know, and I'm now taking on the role of being more intelligent or more diligent with planning. I'm not much of a planner. If I have a plan, it's a little loose. Like, things can be molded instead of having a strict plan. When you got into broadcasting, did you have a plan of how you wanted things to go, or into hosting, how you wanted it to go, or were you just winging it?
Okay, so I'm either smart or I'm stupid.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you right now, my approach hasn't changed since, I'm going to say I failed grade 10 math.
Okay.
Because I figured out.
It's very specific.
I had to, because, like, okay, so in grade 10, if you fail math or science, you need a 35 to go to summer school for half day.
Okay.
I got a 33, and I went to close school every day. I got a 33 and a 32 in math and science, which meant I couldn't.
Wait, like percent?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which meant I couldn't do one of them in summer school because I'd have to take the class for a full day, like someone who hadn't taken the class, which meant I would be held back to grade 10 from my core courses, and all my friends are in grade 11. And I was like, that's not going to happen. So what I did was I figured out, I went to my math teacher, and I just started crying and told him a sob story and, won him over. And so my philosophy has always been win them over. Just win them over. Get them on your team. Get them on your side. That's it.
20
work
years.
hard.
20 years.
It's
win them
not
over.
work hard because I'm not the hardest worker. Like, you can bet on that. I'm not the hardest worker. Like, in certain terms, like, I'm a hard worker. I just don't want to stay till 12.
Yeah, I'm not a big proponent or believer.
Yeah, if you're not, if you aren't really good at something, it's going to take you a long time to do it. Or the thing itself, in essence, requires a long time. I don't think what I do, in essence, requires a long time. So if it's taking me a long time to do it, I'm doing it wrong.
Touche.
And I went to war with a lot of people about that.
I agree with that. I hate the same notion that he's first person in the gym and the last one to leave.
I need to be,
But
there's a reason.
No, but it's like,
Why you're open?
Okay, but like, what are you doing in the gym when you're the first person there? You could be sleeping. You could be sitting down, twiddling your thumbs on your phone. That I don't think that is.
But that's the other game, right? The other game is optics, and I think so much of our society, so much of our economy is based on optics, and I think, like, you could play that game. I think a lot of people are playing that game, and you can succeed playing that game. It's just harder to win playing that game because it's not true, and when it's not true, it's harder to extrapolate and plan because what's winning is like make believe. It's like, well, what make believe will work next. Right? But if you're like built on principles, at least if it doesn't work, okay, that's why it didn't work. It was built on these principles.
That's right.
But if you're just constantly winging it and it's not built on principles, then you don't even know why the last thing worked.
Yeah, we equate everything to hard work as if that's. I think hard work's a barrier to entry. I don't know anyone that doesn't work hard at whatever it is that they're doing.
I know a lot of people that are successful that don't work hard.
Exactly.
Again,
and in fact,
perceptions.
The most successful people I know, they don't actually work.
Yeah.
They have other people doing things for them.
Yeah, they're really good at delegating, where they were given a lump sum of money and found a really cool way to make that money work for them. look, I think the real issue is everyone wants there to be a way.
Well, no, and
this is how it's done.
But a story to tell about how you came from this to that.
Yeah.
And it can't just be I just maintained.
Yeah.
And which to me is more impressive than going from bottom to top. We always want to say we come from the bottom to get to the top and it was hard, but there's people doing all types of shit to go ahead and make it. We're not going to say what they're doing, but you know what I'm saying? Like people doing and it's not hard work. It's not that is the barrier to entry. It's a bare minimum.
Scamming. What are the NFTs? How's your NFT doing? How's your NFT doing?
Hey, it's fact. That is a.
That was hilarious. I was watching that. Was that COVID? I was at home like.
Yeah, it's COVID.
Crazy.
It's COVID.
So you're buying.
Yeah, my cousin actually sold one of those things for a lot, millions, man.
Millions. I mean,
man.
Also bad.
Yeah.
For that person that bought it, like where was your head at?
But a lot of people did. It's new.
Yeah, I mean, I bought a lot of stuff.
One of the questions I ask a lot of the guests is to talk about their resume in terms of like what it looked like when you started your craft and what does it look like now.
Okay, so I've never had a resume.
Interesting.
First off, I mean, I've never gotten a job based on every job I've gotten is based on someone saying my name and then the other person saying, yeah, that's the guy. Like it's more about my reputation. And the most valuable thing I have and probably the thing that gets me the most.
I was gonna say
is my reputation, right? Like I'm a certain type of plug. You ever go to Europe and you want to put your plug in?
Yeah. You have to buy the adapter.
Look at me like that's not gonna work here, but it's gonna work there. So I think my reputation is like my biggest asset. That's kind of how it works for me.
You have no resume outside of that.
No, because I've actually never sent one, and also I'm very, very fortunate to work inside the ecosystem of the Toronto Raptors since I got there.
Of course.
And it's very insular.
Yes, it is.
In that, like,
you're in.
You're in. But also, like, our team, again, trust. Like, big shouts out to Angela Sue. She trusts me to host her features. She trusts me to do her events. And so she's going to put me in front of sponsors and partners because I've, over 20 years... built a certain amount of trust with the people inside that building. And so I don't have to go fishing for a lot of work. Oftentimes
Resumes,
it's
yeah.
Wednesday and I'm taking a nap. And then my phone rings and it's Angela saying, hey, what are you doing next week? And so I think like...
That's funny.
Not having I would say this, you guys are my resume. You guys are my resume. Because you guys are going to walk away from this interview and say certain things about me. And then... it's rarely ever on paper. Like, what do you hosted OVO bounce, hosted? Like, what does that even mean? It's just words on paper. Anybody can say that. Someone could.
Right? Yeah. Facts.
Like, you did that too.
Facts.
But like, it's like
the episode's gonna be 20 years. That's the title of the episode. 20 years.
Fitting.
When you introduce yourself, what do you say?
To who?
Whoever. Because as an athlete per se, one of the things you'd say is, "Hey, I'm Warren. I'm a professional basketball player." It's like how you identify. Because I think within the first 5 questions of meeting someone, you ask them what do they do because you want to put them in a box.
Okay, here's one of the reasons why I like myself so much.
Honestly, when this gets clipped, the first clip we're making is one of the reasons why I like myself so much, and then nothing. We're not saying nothing after that. Just go watch the episode. Please finish that sentence.
No, but honestly, it gets me in trouble, like especially with my family.
You're crying.
No, it does. It's such a, again, like my sister's husband can't stand it. My mom's frustrated. My sister gets it, and then a lot of people around me, it's really frustrating. But if you ask me a question, I'm gonna say the most ridiculous thing possible, just on principle, just off general principle.
Hey, Akil, how you doing? Nice to meet you. What do you do?
Retired astronaut.
Oh, you know what I say? Yeah. Marine biologist.
Like that wasn't even funny, but like so here's the deal. When you walk up to somebody and you introduce yourself, those are train tracks.
Okay.
The conversation is gonna go like this because you kind of set up parameters: formal introduction, loose introduction, wild crazy introduction. You set train tracks for however you introduce yourself, right? If I walk up and go, hey, nigga, what's up? Right? You're gonna have a different reaction. Hey, I'm Akil Augustine, right? So like, whichever one of those I choose are the train tracks of this interaction. If you come up to me and you say, you've set train tracks. I want to change those train tracks. because I feel like people kind of have formulaic ways of interacting with people. Your interaction with me is gonna be like no interaction you've had with any other human being. I'm gonna force you to be so present because the words I say, because the things I do might grab your butt cheek. You know what I'm saying? If you're a guy, if you're a guy, if you're a guy, if you're a guy, if you're a guy.
Okay.
Preference. No.
Yo, you are crazy.
But
you
like,
are crazy.
But again, now, how do you feel right now? Are you way more relaxed than before? Like after we shared that big laugh, after you thought I was crazy, like life.
Well, I still think you're crazy.
Okay,
but
like,
this is
I
good
just
though.
think
Crazy
life
good
is so
though.
much better after I do that. You know, after I make you, and now like your guard's a little bit down. You're probably gonna tell me some more information than you wanted to. You know,
That's true. It's an interesting image of
right now. Like I tell people I'm a media literacy educator because I actually am a media literacy educator.
Right.
But back when I had my TV show, you would never, and it's not some humble tip. It's not some humble tip.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just like it's so much doper if you find out from someone else later in the conversation after you thought it was something else. It's like 10 points more. That's like, what do you do? Man, I wash cars. And then like you're sitting with me, and my homeboys, and then my home goes, yo, so what's on your TV show next week? That is way cooler than
But you just lied.
Huh?
You just lied.
Yeah, I did. And I have no problem with that. Because also, you know that it wasn't a malicious lie. It wasn't like I told you, I have your friend in the back room.
You know what's
up.
crazy? I'll say that. I thought I knew you.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You think you know.
Yeah, I think I
You
knew.
have no idea.
Yeah, this is
This is the diary of Akil Augustine.
This is like getting my butt cheek grabbed right now. This is literally what this is like. This is crazy. This has caught me off guard. This is so interesting.
Well, listen, most of the time we've spent together has been on the 6th floor of Maple Sports Entertainment, an office building.
Yeah, it's true.
That is not friendly to the edges of my character.
Fact.
So I'm very muted down. And even though I'm the most insane person on the floor, it's
toned down.
It's way toned down. And even then,
you've
it's NSFW.
You've been heavily immersed in telling other people's stories.
Yeah.
How do you make space to tell your own?
So the funny thing is, no one knew I was I never told anyone this. I was like 30, like 38, 39. Like my whole life story was like a secret. Like the only people that knew were people from Blake. People that really knew me. They didn't know like dig rope my parents, illegal immigrant, sexual abuse. All that. No one knew that stuff. So I never told my story. What happened was, when I started doing these workshops with kids, I said, like, I'm going to use myself to help other people. So I would if you want to do a podcast, okay, let's do a podcast. Let's talk about it. So that then, obviously they ask questions and stuff will come out. And then I think during one conversation, I mentioned some stuff about my childhood, and these kids from Ryerson were like, that's crazy. Can we do our final project, their thesis project, on your story? So they did a student film, and that was like the first time outside of like my therapist chair where like I told people about what happened to me during my childhood. And then so there was never really any space for telling people my story. I just didn't tell people my story. And then
You didn't care to.
It's sad. I'm a happy guy. I'm like the happy guy.
Yeah, right.
It's a real conflict of interest if the happy guy, the guy you turn to pipe you up versus for Leafs games and for ideas, oh, he's sad.
Yeah.
Mom and dad. So it's not really in line with my brand, which is one of the issues with considering yourself a brand.
And being on TV and doing all that has limited that.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So it muted that, but like.
So is this therapeutic for you? Telling it now. In a different way.
Yeah, it is. It's only therapeutic now because it's weird because like I've come to terms with it. So part of coming to terms with it is like I'm okay to tell people about it, but I don't need to tell people about it. Before I needed to tell people about it, and I refused to tell people about it.
So is telling people about it the same way as a child that like you needed to be seen? Was that the same sort of correlation?
Yeah, I think for me, they were very tied up and kind of oxymoronical mind.
Opposite things, but the same outcome.
Yeah, like that's how your wires get crossed, right? So for me, it's like now I'm in this place where like it's like if I were to talk about it too much, I would feel bad because I would feel like I'm using it. I don't want to use, because again, look, I grew up without my parents for 20 years. It wasn't my parents' fault. They didn't maliciously abandon me here. They did it for my benefit. Imagine me growing up in Brooklyn. On Flatbush in like 88. I'm not here. I'm telling you right now, I'm not here.
Right.
So I think it bothers me to the extent that like people will get an idea of who my parents are, because my parents are two of the most, well, not the most, but I like them. I like them. I really like them.
You're a character.
They're dope,
man.
right? And so like they did what they had to do. And so I think it's like, I don't want to lean into that too much simply because you don't control what other people think. And I want people to think that my family is amazing, because my family's been through so much. Just for us to be standing here knowing like what every woman in my family walked through, man, that's amazing. So I don't want to have that be the lasting memory. I'll have the lasting memory be
Something happy,
something good.
Yeah, and that's a perspective shift. You know? And you talked about what you're doing with kids in digital media. Why is that important for you to do? And is that a shift away from posting? And
it's not. I'm doing the same thing, just to a smaller audience, and I don't have to worry about advertisers. But I think it's important because media messed me up, man. Social media messed me up. Watching TV messed me up, right? Like I watched all these larger-than-life characters, and I thought that that's how I needed to conduct myself as a man. So I had this larger-than-life attitude and personality that still to this day, there's still some outgrowings of it that I'm trying to clip off. And then you talk about how my adult life was impacted by social media because it was blossoming right when I got on TV, and how that impacted my self-perception, my competitive nature.
For better or worse?
Both.
Okay. How better, how worse?
One, it made me more narcissistic. So I think that was the worst. And two, it made me more narcissistic. Way faster than anything could. So I got to run through the cycle of narcissism. Like nothing is going to blow up your ego bigger than putting giant pictures of yourself on I had a billboard for Hudson's Bay during when everyone was going crazy over Black Lives Matter, and any black person was getting paid to be put on a poster, right? Like I participated. I'm not above it. I got a bag, right? My poster was at Yonge and Dundas Square. I was a Nike athlete for a bit. I had a hoop club, like, all these things. And like, what would it take to blow up my ego that much? I'm not going to be a movie star. I'm an average person, really and truly, without social media. So I got to speed run being a crazy narcissist for like 4 or 5 years while I had my TV show, while I had my Nike deal, while I had my Coors Light deal. And so I got to go through this crazy evolution of just being like a dude to being a dude with a TV show, get a little money, get a little platform, treat other people poorly, to have people humble you, go through the whole experience really fast.
No different than an athlete.
Yeah. So I got to speed run narcissism.
And what are you teaching now to other people?
So I think the main thing that I'm doing with the media literacy thing is I've learned so much, because like I never even thought about it until like I had to sit down with my friends. My best friend Vidal Messiah, just like the GOAT to me. And he's like, look at your resume. Like you've interviewed Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant.
You say you didn't have a resume, now you're listening.
Yeah,
no,
I get it. Look
it.
at the things. You've worked with the Toronto Raptors for 20 years. You've worked with the MLS. You've worked with the NHL. You've worked with the NBA. There's got to be value in that to these young people, because what's really happening is these giant brands are everything we've wanted to become. Like you think about who I was at 13 and the places and spaces I wanted to occupy. It was the NBA All-Star Weekend.
Of course.
It was Super Bowl. It was, you wanted to be in LA, for street basketball at
whatever.
night,
Yeah,
ABC, Rucker, blah, blah, blah. And I'm there, right? And what's happened for me, it was more organic, but what's happened now is corporations and advertisers have now penetrated these traditionally black spaces and have optimized it to a point where you can't tell what's genuine from what's fake. Everything is, about money. And so it kind of changes what kids are valuing. And I want to, because I've been a part of a million social media campaigns for Nike, Coors Light, blah, 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 blah. I want to pull the curtain back and say, here's what we're doing to you so that you're more equipped once you step into college, university, once you start your own business, So you understand the mechanics of social media, how it triggers, physiological internal responses in your body, how it heightens jealousy and criticism, how it exploits static perspectives of groups, right? And look, no kid's gonna come out of my workshop and quit social media that day, but it's like, it's opening a conversation, and then in the workshops, there's a lot of practical exercises that I don't think anyone's doing with these kids. And I spent a lot of time over the last 2 years developing these workshops, and I think I don't know, it's my invention. So I want to be like the Zuckerberg for Facebook, and I want to champion it because I really think everyone says no one's doing this, but honestly, I went online and I checked to see who's doing social media workshops for kids, and who has the background, the resume, and the experience that I do, and no one's doing it. So I want to do this with young people. I want to prepare them. I want to prepare parents, teachers, educators, athletes, NIL athletes. Like, I've done content for so long. I know how to prep people to do content. I know how to prep people to perform on camera. I know how to prep people behind camera. And I think so much of our future economy is built around the lens about perception. And I can help these kids prepare themselves at 13, 14, 15, 16, because it's going to eat away at them, at their egos, at their identities.
It already
social
is.
Circles. And so I feel like I'm at the nice edge. I feel like this could be big because someone has to help these kids.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't have made it. Like, dude, I survived physical, sexual, whatever, mental. I survived, selling drugs at an early age. I survived, no parents, carding, undocumented person, running around Regent Park, running around Blake during the carding era with no paperwork, no documentation, living in a refugee center, finding a lawyer to work for free to get me my papers, working illegally under the table. Like, I survived all that. I would not survive social media. I promise you, if you put me in this generation, everything I've done that you think is amazing would have been undercut because I wouldn't have been able to stay off that phone. The amount of instant gratification, the amount of it's like a bomb. And so I look at these kids and I'm thinking man, I wouldn't have made it out. Like, as cool as you think my story is, I wouldn't have made it out with a phone.
Do you think a lot of people are lying to themselves by thinking that they can or that they would have?
They are. They are. The research is in. Like, again, I'm a research guy. I'm a traditional journalist, despite what the higher ups in Canadian television think of me. And I do the research. I look at the numbers. I follow Jonathan Haidt. I follow Taylor Lorenz. These are some of the top journalists who are covering the social media revolution, right? And the numbers are in terms of the impact it's having on our attention span. And your attention is everything. Your attention is literally everything.
Everything.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that happens outside of your attention.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's decimating our ability to sustain it. And with our inability to sustain attention, it leads to an inability to address problems, to have difficult conversations. You think about, I look at these young girls and I ask them, okay, let's say you're going to have an argument with your friend. Would you have it in person or would you have it over the phone? Via text. They'd have it via text.
I know.
They'd hide their emotions behind emojis. So what happens now when that girl gets called into the office or has to go in front of a superintendent or apply for a job, or you haven't been in a tough conversation your whole adolescence, which is when you're supposed to be learning how to be an adult. So physiologically inside, when you get that sick feeling in your stomach, when the heart starts to palpitate, when the sweat starts to bead down the side of your face, you haven't experienced that because you've been doing it digitally. So you're going to have a meltdown. You're not going to be prepared to interact with an adult to move them from a no to a yes. And that's what's happening to these young people, is because they're kind of hermited in their little social bubbles online, they don't have the actual real world skills. So you send them to a job interview and you're like, what is happening with these people?
Very profound. What would you say to a young person who wants to be you, who wants to get into this space?
Don't do it. God, I'm still talking to these kids right now. Don't do it. Wait 5 years. Because what's happening right now is an industry revolution. You think about what social media has done, what Google AdSense has done, what Alphabet, Google's new name.
I know Alphabet, yeah.
What they've done to advertising, what Facebook has done to advertising, Meta. What they've done is the traditional advertisers knew where to go to get eyeballs, right? It was television, it was magazine, it was print. And then when social media came, now all these new places are registering these crazy amounts of eyeballs. So everyone went there. But the problem is, how do you quantify those eyeballs? Does it, when you scroll past 7 posts, do those all count as views?
Yeah.
So there's this huge reckoning coming where it's like, okay, so if AdSense and on whatever Meta's name for their program, they've been telling you you're getting these views and you're paying this for these views, but is it actually that? And so like the price of advertising is changing, and with that, and it's so much easier and cheaper to advertise online, and with the data that they're getting, you can refine. Like literally, if you search Peloton for the next 3 days, all your ads are going to be Peloton. Like it's really tailored to specifically target people, and so content that's delivered through traditional streams, like, is irrelevant to advertisers because I don't know who I'm getting, and there's no way to chase to follow the click-throughs. Like I could literally look and say, okay, I spent $17 to advertise to that guy. He spent $198, and so there's been a shift in terms of where the money is spent. But now the people who are spending the money are suspicious of where they're spending the money. So advertisers are really confused, and then so everyone's making big gambles. Netflix made a big gamble. HBO Max, HBO Go, whatever they're gonna call it today. They made a big gamble. And so the entire industry is kind of waiting to see where things settle. How do you monetize content in the new age? So again, look, I used to work at NBA TV. You and I both. Rogers bought NBA TV. I no longer work at NBA TV. So the landscape is changing at such a volatile rate.
That sucks, man. I used to leave midday, go film that show, go back home and continue working.
Yeah, but the thing is, like back in the day, we knew who we were getting as advertisers in NBA.
Yeah,
we don't
exactly.
know anymore. So I think the landscape has changed so much. I've kind of taken a step back. I'm doing my media literacy thing. There's tons of shows I have in my heart that I want to create. It's just that I'm shouting in the dark on YouTube, and the workflow, the grind. Like back in the day, if you were a big time like TV show host, if you were Larry King, you do a show every night,
millions of views
for 5 nights, take maybe 2 months off in the summer. According to the algorithm, if you don't post every day consistently, you aren't going to be this version's Larry King.
Yeah.
So there's no break in it, right? So in order to stay relevant, and that's not an environment that I want to participate in, so I'm not going to do a YouTube show. I'm not going to do a podcast because, like, look, I told you earlier, I'm lazy. I don't want to do that. I don't want to work every day, right? So, I'm doing this, and then I'm still with the Raptors doing sideline, but
you wouldn't tell a kid to go ahead and get in this industry.
No, absolutely not. Everyone's the kids that like come up to me and ask to have a conversation with me. I give my phone number, and like I could hear how dejected they are because I'm telling them this. Don't do it. Like, okay, if you want to do it, don't plan on working for TSN, Sportsnet, whatever. They're gonna pay you $30K, $50K. I can't live on that, right? So then you're gonna do YouTube, and then you're gonna grind out $100K and break yourself after a year, mentally, physically done, right? But you could blow up, but that always goes left, no matter who you are, right? So it's like, I don't know. I always think of my daughter when one of these kids comes up to me and says, "Would I tell my daughter to get in this field?" My daughter's never going on camera. Now it's gonna be messed up when you play this clip back 25 years from now, and my daughter's a TV star or something, or worse.
I was about to say, you never know, Akil.
It's not my intention. I know why I wanted to be on TV.
Yeah.
Because I needed, like, most people who end up on TV kind of have that sick, hollow, thing in them.
Thanks, Akil.
No, you're a healthier guy. You got 2 parents. You're good. I know. You're a good dude, man. But like for a lot of us, like it's a sick thing. It's not good, and it's rewarded. And so I wouldn't advise anyone. And also, I'll say this: you go hard. Like I don't know a lot of kids nowadays that go crazy hard. Like I went crazy hard to get on TV.
Yeah.
Like I worked at Joker nightclub at night.
Yeah.
And then I would like sleep on my friend's couch.
Yeah.
I was homeless. And then I would go work at Pound. And then I'd go work at Sport. At Pound was Bathurst and King. And then I would go to Scarborough Town Center to go to TSN to be an intern there. Like you got to go super hard. You got to go stupid hard. But it's so easy to get famous now off of viral. And I think that like if you were to bring that argument of going stupid hard for 5 years, 20 hours a day to a kid, that's ridiculous.
And because there's no guarantee that hard work's going to lead you to what you want.
I could poop in my hand and put it on YouTube and go viral. It's true, though. You laugh. I'm not stupid.
Man.
It's true. I guarantee you. Watch. Skibbity toilet.
You have reinvented yourself multiple times. You were a sneaker salesman. I read you were.
I was a damn good one.
You were a vlogger.
Yeah.
You've then become a social media influencer.
I was a social. I worked at East Metro Youth Services as a youth outreach worker in Tuxedo Court in the summer of the gun.
Okay.
Going from building to building, just trying to get kids to make YouTube videos. Actually, that was a job.
After TV host, you then now father. What is each version of Akil Augustine taught you? Or each one of those versions?
Okay, so like the young me, the one that went through all like the crazy stuff.
Sure.
I'm unstoppable.
Okay.
I'm unstoppable. That's what that taught me. And then so I had two very distinct lives, because you think about my life from 0 to 28, 26, 27. It's its own movie. It's like Fresh, the movie. You ever see Fresh, the movie?
No.
Watch Fresh, the movie.
Okay.
That's my childhood. It's insane.
Okay.
And then at around 27, I got a job with the Toronto Raptors full time. And then for the next 10 years, so I found out I was unstoppable, right? And then for the next 10 years, from the 27, 37, I found out I was very stoppable. Very stoppable. Highly stoppable.
Highly stoppable.
Highly stoppable.
Right.
And it was me.
Okay.
That was stopping me. Right. And so I learned that, like, in that stretch, I learned that thinking I'm separate and different, because I am separate and different. Like, I've had to work so hard to come to terms with the fact that, like, most people have at least a parent. Like, you don't just grow up with no guidance.
Sure.
I grew up with no guidance.
Right.
Like, no one told me what to do. I figured out stuff. So I had to, at the same time, accept that I'm different and that I'm not.
Yeah.
Because, like, we're all reveling with, and then well, did you go through this? And did you go through that?
That's a big duality,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I had to learn to balance how isolated I felt. Because, one, growing up with no parents, it's kind of like isolation is inherent in my nervous system. Because when I'm 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 crying and no one's coming, it's kind of like built in. But at the same time, I'm not actually isolated, because I live downtown Toronto. I've got a great network of friends. There's social supports, there's therapy, there's working to go to the gym, right? And so it's balancing that. So Batman is my favorite fictional character. Because there's Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
and there's Batman.
Right.
The one thing people don't understand about Batman is Bruce Wayne is the fake identity. Batman is who he is.
Right.
He's actually Batman. And so I've always loved and resonated that, because for me it's like there's a dark side to me, and I need to manage that, because a lot of people see like the performer side of me.
Right.
But there's a darker side to me. Like, I've seen absolutely insane things at an age no one should see the things that I saw. And so I have to learn, like, as weird as my life has been, I can't isolate myself because of my strange background. Oh, you used to sell crack when you were 10. You can't hang with me. You ain't parents. You're soft. You're from the suburbs. Like, I had a lot of that growing up. Like, I wouldn't mess with people because they weren't from where I'm from, seeing what I've seen and done what I did. And that isolated me, because the older I got, the people who did the things that I did and being where I'm from, dead, jail, there were less and less people like that on the planet. Like, people who came up like I came up don't last to 42. So there was no one to hang out with. So unless I, went across the aisle and put an olive branch out to people who have absolutely nothing similar to me, I'm not going to have anyone to hang out with. And so I think when I was doing the hangout, when I became popular, I just got more isolated because, going to these events, but who are these people? They're not like us. They're not from Blake, they're not from Regent, they're not from Malvern. They're not, like, they're not us. And so, like, I had a hard time laying down that wall. And so I think that's what that 10 years taught me, because, like, the little bit of success I had put me in spaces where there was no one.
Like you.
Yeah. The mud babies not allowed. You know what I'm saying? Right?
And now fatherhood.
Biggest lesson. Again.
Because none of that matters to your daughter. Where you from? Where you come from? Yeah.
So one of my biggest beefs is I'm not sure I'm able to relate to my daughter, because she's spoiled.
As she should be.
I'm mad though. Sometimes I look at her and get pissed off.
Be happy.
Because I'm like, yo, man, I should have got some of this. You got it
No.
good.
No.
She hasn't. No, but honestly.
But you're there. So you're spoiled.
Okay, flip it on its head. All right, but I mean, I'm paying for it though.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. All right.
Doesn't matter.
Wait till you get yours. I'm just saying. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, no, my daughter, again, I'm lucky because I wasn't going to have a kid. Not like it was the plan. When I had my kid, I was 39, not in a relationship, no plans of slowing down. And then it happened, right? And then for a year, I was a shell of myself. I was a shell. Like, I can honestly, openly talk about that now. Like, I was gone. Head gone. Like,
I remember.
I was so disappointed because, like, growing up, like, because in my neighborhood, right, my daughter lives in Hamilton. Her mom's in Hamilton. My parents were there for me. My daughter lives in a different city. I'm not with the mom. This was attacking every idea I had, every negative stereotype I had about a black man, how we become fathers. I was another one of those guys. I was a failure. I traveled around the city going from school to school, talking to kids about what to do, what not to do. And here I am, having a kid out of wedlock with someone I'm not in a relationship with. And the amount of imposter syndrome, and just for everything that I had been through, like, I just felt like I had let down so many people. I felt like I had failed. Mm-hmm. And then, you live in downtown. Like, all of my friends who have kids, they move out to, like, everyone from Scarborough moved to Whitby, Pickering. So, like, all my friends are in Pickering. Mm-hmm. Every man's in Pickering with a house in the garage. I work downtown, so I got my place downtown. So I'm not around them. People downtown, they don't want kids. They don't want to stay in on a Friday night, right? So, like, the environment that I was in was really anti-kid, and it affected me. And, like, the people I were around, like, these are, like, people who want to be out and about. And so, like, it was like, I can't do that anymore. I have this kid. And then my daughter, as I spent time with her and enjoyed spending time with her, and also, like, the context, she's my daughter. Like, there's never going to be a more significant story than that to me. I think that slowly over time kind of brought me out of it. And then when I got out of, like, the grief of losing the life that I did have, I got to notice what I gained. And it's crazy because it's like, my therapist doesn't have a kid. And so he talks to me all the time, like, I'm making money, I'm doing good work, but when I go home, I'm like, what? Like, what am I doing this for? I know exactly why I wake up every day. I know why I have to do these gigs. I know precisely where I have to be on the weekend. Like, there's a sense of direction that I have now that I've never had in my life because I know exactly what's important. And it just provides me with a true North Star that makes being me easier. As much as I wouldn't have thought that was the case, because I thought unlimited time, unlimited resources was true freedom. But it turns out that, like, being restricted and being forced to be in a role has given me more freedom than my
what you thought was freedom. Yeah. That's so interesting. I think that's very relatable to this. No, well said. Like I said, I thought I knew you before this, but in the last hour and a half, I have learned.
We were at work, bro.
Yeah, I learned a shit ton about you. And I want to thank you for your transparency, your honesty, and I hope people who watch this see that and notice that about you. And you don't need to be an athlete, or you just got to be a human. So it's really cool that you're able to share all this on camera. We like to play a little game before we end. Okay. So I'm gonna say this twice for you. Okay. It's one word or one sentence. Okay. One word or one sentence.
So a soliloquy.
The game is called For Three.
Okay.
One word, one sentence.
Okay.
Thank you. When people hear the name Akil Augustine in one word, what should they think? One word.
Hype.
Interesting for me. That's what I'm going to go with. From Trinidad to New York to Canada, describe your journey in one word.
In one word?
One word.
Epic.
When your daughter is old enough to watch this,
fuck!
And I hope she does, what would you want her to think?
I'm cool. Honestly, I would like her to think that, but at the end of the day, no, honestly.
One word, one sentence.
Oh, okay, wait.
One sentence. One sentence.
What sentence? I would want her to know how much she changed me.
Oh, that's dope. Well, Akil, this past year I was you were in Trinidad.
I'm going right back.
Yeah.
Come February. Let we go. Let we go.
And I got to do your job. I got to host.
Yeah.
First time ever hosting Raptors Today. And that was the first time. I've been doing this 2 years, almost. This is third season now, 3 years. Been on TV for 5 years. That was the most nervous I think I felt since the first time I broadcasted a 905 game. And at that moment, I realized how hard it is to do what you do and how naturally you do it, because Javon was here and Savannah was here, and our good friend
Jake LaRue,
Jake LaRue was standing over there, and he's like, go. And I'm like, oh, like I'm used to sitting here and just waiting for you to do the thing so that I can speak. But then I had to start the engine, and it's like, oh, this is so different. So I got to be in your shoes for like 5 minutes, and
must have been tight. What are you, like 15?
Chill, man. Chill. But the point is that I'm trying to make is that I think until you get to live in someone else's shoes, you don't really know, and your transparency, I think, will allow and help people to do that. So I just want to say thank you for being here. This was so interesting, and
thank you for having the podcast, because like honestly, like it's a great subject matter.
Well, I appreciate
it. Allows
that, man.
for a lot of good conversation, and that's my guy Warren Ward, man. Big him up one time.
And that's it, man. Thank you, man.
Let's go.
Hey, if you like this episode, I'm sure you'll like the other ones. Of course, the best way to support this podcast, to like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, share with 4 friends, share with 6 friends, share with 6 times 6 friends, and I'll see you next time.